Hey, July the 4th. Happy 4th of July to everybody. The lake levels, Table Rock's been about 921 for the last 3-4 days, been up and down a few inches, but it's been pretty consistent. And also Beaver and Bull Shoals, the lake levels, everything's high, but it's not going up or down. They seem to be staying pretty level, pretty consistent with some generation. But water temperature, it's still in the mid 70s pretty much throughout the lake. And the fish, I think the fish are really scattered. When they were generating water, there's no reason for a lot of the fish to be out real deep. When they were moving as much water as they were a couple weeks ago, the thermocline doesn't set up. So what that does, it kind of scatters the fish. And since the water's been up, I've been spending the majority of my time up in the river arms, fishing relatively shallow. Some of my buddies I talk to, I know are, catching them drop shotting from, say, Campbell Point down to the dam, and they'll vary every day from, 25 to 30 feet. But drop shot fish I've been catching more up into mid-James have been a lot shallower, 18 to 25 foot. And there's a combination of baits working. It seems like there are some fish up in the bushes. We were up in the upper White River last weekend and had a real good day up there. We caught some big fish and several keepers, and we caught them flipping a new 5-fish lures ultimate cover jig. And there's a lot of different jigs that would work. We caught some on a Texas rig worm. We caught some on a little square bill crankbait. But a lot of the fishing, I'm going to get into that here in just a second, what I usually like to do in the summertime. But as far as a lot of the main lake, your football jigs, big shaky heads will work. And, a Ned rig is kind of a deal. They never really stop biting it. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll fish a 1/4 ounce Ned head and fish it on like a Zoom 6-inch trick worm, any type of finesse worm, even a 4-inch. But it seems like the best bite is like from, about 8 to 10 foot out to about 25 foot. And they're on, a lot of main lake points. Early, they're up there right along the edge of the bushes. As the sun gets up, they've been getting a little further out. And, like I say, you can throw a football jig, like a pig sticker wobble head. And something I like to throw quite a bit. I like to throw this worm either on a wobble head, like a biffle hard head that LaRue makes. Pig sticker makes, they call it the pig rig. And this is a new kind of a prototype shaky head that we're working on. It's got a 6-aught hook. And I like to throw a Zoom Magnum finesse worm on it. But I've been fishing it, up to about 25, 30 feet. But, a lot of times what I like to do this time of year, especially like today, we're going out fishing today. We're going to wait a couple of hours and go out. But when the boat traffic gets real crazy and heavy, I like to go as far up the river arms as you can go. Last weekend we did it up in Roaring River, but you can do it up in the Kings River, the Long Creek, James, Flat Creek. And you'd be amazed at how shallow the fish are. The warmer the water gets, it seems like the better it gets up there for me. And normally what I'll do, I'll throw 2 or 3 baits, but I'll use a crankbait as a search bait. And I like to throw a 1.5 or a 2.5 Strike King, but a little Bandit will work good. This one here is an RC 1.5, a Rick Cologne. But any of the real small crankbaits, I like to use them in shad color. And basically what I'm doing is I'm looking for the bait fish, and I'm going up to where there's only maybe, 10 to 15 foot is the maximum depth. And when you get up into that skinny water like that, you've got a channel on one side and a flat on the other. Right now where the water's 5 foot high, excuse me, there's a lot of bushes, laydowns, stuff like that in the water, especially on the channel side. We'll go out on the flats and kind of just any type of structure, any type of bush or stick we see sticking up, we'll throw a crankbait by it and right through it. And these square bills will really come through the cover good. Don't be afraid to throw it just right into the middle of the cover. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll throw a top water first, over the top of it where I know I'm not going to get hung up. Then I'll throw the crankbait right into the heart of it, bounce it off some of the wood. And if you're a light line fisherman, you like to use spinning rod, just where the Ned head on like a 6-inch worm will work good. My favorite worm, and it's kind of old school, not a whole lot of people throw a Texas rig worm anymore. And about the only place I can find the Lake Fork worms anymore is at the Bass Pro Shop. You know, they stock them. But I like a plum color, or blue and black flake, and I'll Texas rig it with a 1/4 ounce weight, and I'll throw it in and around the brush, the same brush that I just threw the top water and the crankbait on. And a lot of the key is up there on them rivers when you're doing that, if you see a lot of little bait fish out on the flats. If you don't see much bait activity and you don't seem like you can get bit off the bushes and the wood out on the middle of these flats, go to the steeper bank where the channel is. And steeper bank, I mean, there's only going to be maybe 8 to 10, 12 feet of water. Then I just start picking the bank apart. Every piece of wood on it I'll flip. The rock changes. Right now it seems where the water's up, where there's so many green bushes, you almost got to find some dead wood that's mixed in with the green bushes. And what I mean by that is like a piece of wood that's drifted up into the bushes, a laydown that's stuck on the bank, or if you've got some dead bushes or dead willows or dead trees in amongst those bushes, the fish seem to be on that wood like that. And also if you get up into like some areas where almost like people's backyards where it was mowed before the water come up, you've got some bigger trees, the fish will be on the base of them trees, normally on the shad. And I'll kind of do the same thing with them. I'll throw a crankbait by them. And you just got to kind of play around, see which bait they want. You know, some days they're a lot more active and they'll chase that crankbait around. Other days I've got to take like a ultimate finesse jig, 7/16 and pitch it around there. And also I wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, fishing out there deep. We've got our new ultimate cover jig out, and we've got it from 3/8 up to 3/4. It's got a really unique design, and what this jig we're hoping it's going to do, and it so far it's proven to be replacing our football jigs. The way it's designed, you can fish it out there 25, 35 feet of water and come through the brush piles effectively. It doesn't really matter whose football jig it is. It's just the design of a football jig isn't made very well to come through branches and thicker brush. And that's a lot of the reason we come out with this new head design. But I've also been flipping this up in the bushes, you know, the smaller version, the 3/8. Using a lot of different trailers. This has got a Zoom twin tail on it, but normally I'll use like a Baby Rage craw or Zoom Speed craw. Yamamoto twin tail, pocket chunk. You know, normally when the water's warm like this, I like something with a lot of leg action. But even though the lake's going to be busy this next week, just be safe out there. There's still a lot of kind of debris floating around, so just keep an eye out for logs and floaters. But like I say, the lake is fishing really good. You can almost take whatever your strength is or whatever your favorite thing to do is and go to different arms of the lakes and try to do that. And even down lake, you know, they're biting a tube bait real good. Anytime the fish are on crawdads and they're biting a jig, you know, a tube is always a real good bait. And a lot of times what I'll do with spinning gear with 6 or 8 pound line, I'll take a 3/16, a 1/4 ounce ball headed jig, put it inside of a 3.5, 4-inch tube. Then you just kind of cut the bait a little bit there, pull the eyelet out where you can tie right there. But usually a green pumpkin, watermelon red's real hard to beat. We'll fish it just like a football jig on a lot of the main lake points, on the drops. Also something else, you know, Carolina rig or split shot will work as well too. You know, with your lizards or baby brush hogs. There's just a lot of different baits that'll work. But like I say, when, you know, after about 11 o'clock today, the lake is going to be a zoo. So I'm going to head way up into the river arms where the wave runners and wake boats can't get to me. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.